is what we perceive as reality real? According to scientific author, cognitive psychologist, and Professor Donald Hoffman, and many, many, many other quantum physicists, not at all. Welcome to Soul Spy University, where your souls can run free and your minds are free to expand. Your soul's home spawn, essentially, for your mind, adult Disneyland. Today's topic is, as usual, mind-expandingly breaking in a really good way, and it's going to make you feel really, really good and question everything, and make you feel good about everything. But as usual, please don't forget to support our content by giving a like, subscribe so your soul and mind won't miss a beat and adventure with us, and we won't be lost on you forever. And if you share, that would be amazing to expand the minds of others. Yes, diving right in today. So Donald Hoffman and many, many other physicists have been doing a lot of research, and it turns out that reality as we perceive it is nothing like what's really going on. Now, this is interesting because I've always had the question, for instance, say I hold up this pen, right? To me, this is a pen. To you, I know you are looking at something that you also call pen, but what I see here might not be what you see here. You know it as a pen, I know it as a pen, but to you, it could look like what I see as a hippo or something, So yes, that is exactly what we're talking about today. So I always wondered these things. People that question things, that expand their minds, do wonder these things. And now it's coming to fruition. Basically, what we're seeing is so shaped by our minds for our own survival benefit that we're only seeing like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what's really actually there. So if we actually were to see even like 30% of what reality really is, it would look like an entirely other world and dimension to us, potentially. So this is mind-blowingly interesting. Let me look at my notes. How are you doing, Tommy?
But couldn't that be broken down to simply describing something and hearing the same description back from someone else?
So we all have shared language, but it doesn't mean we're experiencing the same thing.
That's true.
Okay. So it's literally like growing up where you only see black and white, and then you hear about color. Like you don't know color until you experience it, which was actually a thought experiment done in the 80s, where they actually grew this person up in a room with everything only black and white. And then was their experience of color different from all the research they could ever do about color versus actually seeing it, It's
really messed up.
So it's like, for instance, to go to your argument, right? Let me hold up a marker again. Like, for instance, this we know as pink, right? Or some may call it a fuchsia. We know that color to be that label. That doesn't mean you're seeing the same color as me. Do you see what I'm saying? This could look green to me and fuchsia to you, but I know it to be labeled fuchsia and you know it to be labeled fuchsia. You get what I'm saying yet?
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so what I was thinking is that this guy, I understand what the basis of what he's saying. I was thinking if maybe he thinks it more broadly, like because he's a scientist, that he's seeing there's all these particles and all these things in our atmosphere that create things and shift things around, and that we are limited to not be able to see these things with our eyes. Is that what he like some of the things? I understand that he thinks yeah, of course people see things differently, but not drastically differently. Like I like this is a book.
No, what he's saying is this. Okay, he's saying we're seeing things extremely differently than what is actually there.
Okay.
He's not saying we're all seeing everything differently. That was my inquisition that
Okay.
I'm deriving from the study. Because we're all in our own little worlds and universes, you know? For instance, like something could happen to me that affects me insanely deeply. So that same event could happen to you, never barely affect you, right?
Mhm.
It's because of what's happened to me in my life and whatever work I've done on myself or not. And same for you, right? So one experience can hit two different people extremely differently. And that's just one little way, one little example of probably many, just branching off of his theory that I just created, say, you know? But what he's literally saying is that we are programmed from evolution to only see what helps us survive and what is of benefit to us. They've done many experiments with this on mice, and many things like that. And it's like, so basically there's a whole other world out there right here, in fact, that we are just not like seeing at all or in tune with, because it wouldn't ultimately have a survival benefit to us. So this raises many questions. Maybe people that are, experimenting with psychedelics and actually see all these things they describe, leprechauns, other realms, this, that, and the other, it could potentially all actually be there. But our minds and vision and senses are completely, filtering it out, because how is it going to help us to see a damn leprechaun there, right?
Well, I mean,
You would think. So basically, it's interesting. He actually rules a lot because he's a cognitive psychologist, in terms of like, we're being projectors. It's like, we're actually creating, our perception is creating the reality that we see. And we're actually creating reality with our thoughts, which, by the way, for some of you that don't already know, that's actually my specialty. That's what I life coach in, not only in grounding and healing people and spiritual intuition, but in helping you be the best projector for your life, knowing that we create our entire reality from what's going on inside of us. And I do help teach that from scratch, that reality is literally just pushed out. And now, thanks to Donald Hoffman, there is actually scientific evidence of this, that the government is actually doing in various projects that we should probably cover on a video, but we got to be careful what we really cover. But yes, it goes that in depth.
like I understand that there are theories of us basically walking around with different like worlds all around us because we vibrate at a different frequency than anything else. But what I don't understand is his whole basis on the visual of something, because if that's the case, and yeah, we are projectors, how is it that we don't physically interact with it without realizing?
Okay, yeah, so that's what gets into the depth of it, which is what we perceive is real to us. So that goes into the nitty gritty and the bones of how I help coach people. But basically, you could create something to be real because you have a lot of emotion or perception about it, whereas the next person who doesn't care about that at all, it won't be in their reality. So for instance, people will notice as they get older, something that triggers them a lot will actually show up a lot in their lives. But if they were to actually get down to the nitty gritty of why that triggers them and heal that and like evolve above it, and there's many other strategies for that, that trigger won't show up anymore. So basically, it's not just about sight, it's about like, it's about everything.
I gotta look more into this one. But yeah, no, a lot of it does make sense. I'd like to see. I understand your way of it, but I want to see this guy's like, you know, paperwork basically. I want to see. I have to read more up on this thing because it's very interesting.
Okay, because I was playing it for you last week.
Yeah, I know, but playing it and reading it are two different things. When I can read it, I can read it back and all that stuff. Instead, listening to the guy speak, he's like so monotone and he's so boring. But it's like it's
Please don't
very
insult
interesting.
him on my podcast. I find him extremely interesting. So
Yes, but from you going, hey, listen to this, and then playing it as yes, it was very interesting. But a lot of it I couldn't keep up with. So I would love to just read up on it as as well. Because it's if I could like if I could wrap my head around his theory, then it would be amazing for me. Or at the moment, I might have my little bit of doubts with what he's saying, but it makes
well, he's obviously
sense.
done years and years and years and years and years of research to even come to a fraction of a conclusion that he actually has way more of to even be reporting this and being on all these interviews the past few years. So
True,
I am
true.
looking forward to, if you do ever read up on this, for us to have an interactive podcast on it, because this to me is extremely fascinating. And I think everyone needs to know that finally, yes, there is science backing up not only my job, but really what it's about is the creation of their own realities, that their realities are literally just them pushed out. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, when you're in a dream and then you wake up here, but then they say this is a dream. So like on a higher level, those who have crossed over and come back via near death experiences do experience, they say, oh my God, it's realer than here. Or if you've ever had a vivid dream that's very like soul like touching, oh my God, it was realer than here. I've had the visions that are realer than here. And that's when you realize, oh my God, in this life that we thought was life, it is so barely a fraction of the realness we felt either on the other side as a near death
Mhm.
experiencers, or us prior to coming here is my belief. So for those who remember, or these vivid dreams, right? That we realize, oh my God, that's why they say life is but a dream. And so we are literally sort of creating our life, which is what I specialize in. But that also links into simulation theory.
That's what I was
Um,
about to say. Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of really cool, guys. Don't ever get freaked out by this. Just think, wow, what you thought was a big deal actually isn't. Think of life as a game in terms of, wow, I'm in a video game, say, and the point is that to me, it's the more you awaken and realize and can remember, oh, I'm creating my own reality, the more you'll create a better world for yourself. And you gain points by being good because you feel good about yourself, and really it just feels good to be good, and things like that. And you figure out the game of life. It's like you really did figure out the game of life. So to me, simulation theory, us pushed out, dream, it's all different labels for really what I've been working with people for over a decade, which is we're creating our own reality 100%. you know um they're putting different labels on it. Now there's scientific backing on it. This is absolutely amazing to me. This is absolutely amazing to me because really we're in these little meat suits just going around and we're all in this like game together. And it's really awesome. It really is. And his conversations are the most mind-blowing things you've ever heard. In fact, I believe it was him that says, the couch is only there because you know it to be there, because you perceive it to be there. If you ever had some sort of concussion, basically what he's saying is your consciousness creates your reality. If you ever weren't expecting the couch to be there, like it's not going to be there until you remember and it's there. It's crazy like that. It's literally crazy like that.
Mm. I really hope that I never find out if this is an actual like simulation video game thing. Because I would play it like I play my video games and be like, Grove Street fam appreciates your assistance as I pull somebody out of their car and jump in. It's an old video game, you wouldn't know. But
Grand Theft Auto.
it's exactly what it is, yes. But yeah, that's one thing I was always like, it makes sense that it would go towards the simulation theory type thing because we don't perceive the universe as it actually is in his his thesis, you can bend it towards it being, it's not like that because it's like this. It's because, nothing's real. We're basically in a massive computer, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, man, that's crazy thoughts. It's so amazing.
Oh
But
my God, yeah, I love it. I'm never gonna stop listening to him, researching and hearing what else he comes out with, because talk about like having a life-changing event every time you hear him.
true. Now, is this you said he had evidence, or is this just basically
Oh yeah,
hearsay?
he's been doing these kind of things for forever, and yeah, coming up with also they have all sorts of evidence if you look into it. But I still remember, I've been working, and before I was paid full time to do what I'm doing in terms of life coaching with law of attraction and manifesting. All I wanted to do was spread this information to inspire and empower people, even if I wasn't getting paid at the time, not realizing the whole energy exchange of they actually get more when they evaluate it, stuff like that. So I just was so inspired and empowered once I learned that we create our own reality 100%. That I was like, oh my God, if I only knew this when, life changing. And in a way, portals open up in your mind of like all different lives that could have happened. And I was like, I got to get this out there. I got it. So for years, I tried to awaken and inspire my family or those that were still alive that I had left, or friends or anything. And really, I was the only one that was leading this. They maybe some of them would be like, oh, okay, maybe, but they're not putting it into effect. So I remember I drove to, for those of you that know anything about this world, Abraham Hicks is huge in it. I drove to a Abraham Hicks convention in Greenwich by myself at 5 a.m. And I was trying to get into the Greenwich hotel in the back to park before going in. And it was all crowded and backed up. And I like, it was taking forever to even get in the lot. And I remember like realizing it was from everybody going there. And at the time, I think you've heard me say this before, Tommy, like the traffic guy was like, sorry, it's just, there's so many people. I can't even get into, I was crying tears of joy streaming down my face and body, like, so I can't even describe the feeling of like thousands of people going there. Like, I felt so united. I felt so like, thank God this world is waking up, after like years of being the only one trying to help people, trying to tell them about this, and being kind of like beaten down like a little duckling trying to help. And after a while you get exhausted. So I have to go to this thing for my own, rejuvenation. And I thought, there'd be like, I don't know, maybe like 100 other people, in which case I'd be so elated and excited. Thousands. My whole world changed in that moment. I thought, I don't know, it's something very innate, very like to my core. Like I used to cry telling this story, like, yes. And I remember every time I showed The Secret to somebody, I used to just be bawling, because it touches me to the core of like, we could do this, guys. We can make the rest of our lives the best of our lives. Again, feel free to contact me in the description box for the session, for any session like this, because you can. Let's make the most of your days left. It is worth every penny. You get 11 times the amount that you pay for me, because you create abundance in all sorts of things, raving reviews. But aside from that, that I love now, this is just as, 10 or more years later, riveting to me from the inside out. Finally, yes, scientific evidence proving this. They've been saying there's scientific evidence proving this for years and years and years. And now there's a whole other branch of it that is like so pinpointing exactly what this is, that I'm like, Yes. Thank God. Because once there's evidence behind it, like people can calm down. You know what I mean? Before that, it was cool to be like, oh, I don't know. Well, all right, have fun living the rest of your life, thinking you're a slave. You're not. You're in control of everything. Wake up, guys. It's going to be amazing. You can do anything.
See, I was expecting, because I know your stories, that after you like started crying because of you realize all those people were there, the security guard would be like, wow, you really must love Sexicon.
Yes, guys. Usually my stories end in tragedy or comedic tragedy or just comedy, but this was soul altering, life transforming.
Yeah, that's I mean, this is pretty like amazing that this guy has come up with this and they're actually researching different like forms of what this reality actually should be or is, or that we don't see.
Yes.
It would be awesome if we get him on this. I mean, you got like, what's her name? And she was amazing.
Cynthia. Yes, guys. For my interviews on Cynthia Sue Larson, there are 3 out on my channel right now, covering all sorts of mind expanding things. And I still have a 4th I have yet to put out, not out of me not putting it out for any other reason other than I want consciousness to be ready. So I use my intuition as to when. It was supposed to be this August. It might be next year. So please don't forget to like, so we can keep putting this content out there for you. We really do have the most mind expanding content, as well as comedy that does accidentally happen a lot. But you have to see our playlist. They span from comedic to aliens, soul stuff, anything. Please join our fun and conversations and have your mind relax enough to expand during it and your soul's running free through that amazing playground that we have. And if you subscribe, we won't be lost on you forever. And if you share, you'll be helping and aiding the expansion of consciousness for all of us in the collective around the world. So it's a win-win-win either way. Tommy, you have anything else to say?
No, just thanks for everybody for watching. This was a good one. I like it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And don't forget, if you're interested in being on the show or a session with me, please be sure to look at the link in the description box and email me. As well as please leave in the comments below how you feel about Donald Hoffman. He's absolutely amazing. Please do research on him and what he's saying. This is mind opening. And I'm so glad we're here at the stage of consciousness and mind expansion that we are at. And it is riveting, just straight up riveting.
Thanks for watching, guys.